Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa usalli wa usallam ala Sayyid al-awwaleen wal akhirin. Nabiyyina Muhammadan wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa barak wa sallam. All praise are due to Allah, Lord of the worlds. And peace and blessings be showered upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad, the master of the first and the last, and upon his family, his companions, and all those who call to his way and establish his sunnah to the day of judgment. As to what follows, my beloved brothers and sisters, to our friends, to our viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are in a very unique time period today. Muslims have grown exponentially. The Muslim world now is estimated to be over 2 billion people throughout the planet. Some of the richest people on the face of the planet Earth are Muslims. The average age of Muslims is young people. When you go to most Muslim countries, you will actually see that the majority of Muslims are under 25 years old. So we are a nation of the future. We also have a history of great dignity and knowledge and learning. Many of the Muslim countries have armies, so there are hundreds and thousands of men standing at arms. That's great potential, but there's a contradiction, because at the same time, with the great wealth, there's great poverty. Some of the poorest places on earth are with Muslims. We're now seeing it's being exposed what is happening in the Sahel region of West Africa. The poorest people on earth in Niger and in Mali, Gabon. Even though some of the richest people now, the Emirates, Saudi Arabia, they have the highest national incomes. That's a contradiction. With the great armies that we have, we're still being humiliated in certain places. And so we reached a very critical point, and people are crying for change. People are crying for political change, economic change, for social change. But Allah told us very clearly in Surah Al-Ra'd, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change that which is in themselves. No change. And so we need to survive, and we need to change ourselves, to change our outlook on things. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not leave us alone. Allah gave us a solution. That is the Quran. Allah gave us the living Quran in Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, who is described as by Aisha, his wife radiallahu anha, as the Quran walking and talking. And so the solutions are there, but it is only for us to now implement what Allah has given to us. And one of the beautiful places that we have been reflecting upon in the Quran itself is in Surah Ash-Shura, verses 36 to 39. And in this is divine guidance to help us in this world where we are just about surviving now. There's an onslaught upon us, not only a physical attack, there is a spiritual attack, there is a mental attack, an educational attack, a psychological attack. And so we need to survive and revive, to revive our faith. What did Allah tell us? In Surah Ash-Shura, Allah told us, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فما أوتيتم من شيء فمتاع الحياة الدنيا وما عند الله خير وأبقى للذين آمنوا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون والذين يجتنبون كبائر الإثم والفواحش وإذا ما غضبوا هم يغفرون والذين استجابوا لربهم وأقاموا الصلاة وأمرهم شورى بينهم وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَهُمُ الْبَغِي هُمْ يَنْتَصِرُونَ. Allah has revealed to us in his glorious text, so whatever you are given, that is only a provision of the life of this world. But that which is with Allah is better and more lasting for those who believe and rely on their Lord, and those who avoid the major sins and indecencies. And whenever they are angry, they forgive. And those who respond to their Lord and establish prayer, and their rule is to take counsel among themselves. Those who spend out of what we have provided for them, and those who, when a great wrong is done to them, they stand and defend themselves. This is a 10-point program for survival. Point number 1, that is recognition of hayat ad-dunya. Allah told us, وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ. The life of this world is nothing but material deception. So we need to recognize this world is an illusion and hold on to something strong. That recognition is the beginning, but there's conditions for the recognition. That's point number 2. And that is Iman and Tawakkul. So it is Al-Iman Billah, belief in Allah, and Tawakkul ala Allah, that is dependency on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is so important for our faith, so important for our future, that we have that belief in Allah, that we fulfill the conditions of Iman. And that is Al-Qawlu bil-Lisan, wa-Tasdeeq bil-Qalb, wal-Amal bil-Jawarih. And that is that we say it with our tongues, Amantu Billah, we believe in our hearts, but finally we practice with our limbs. So it's not just talk, we walk the talk, we implement. Tawakkul is when we are depending upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that means not depending upon the dollar or the pound, or depending upon material things, but ultimately on Allah Azza wa Jal. Point number 3 from the 10-point program of survival in this world, and that is Ijtinab al-Kaba'ir. That is to avoid major sins. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, he reports that there are over 70 kaba'ir. And you can look up the major sins, and there are many of them. For instance, we found in one of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he's talking about Sab'a Mubiqat. He's talking about 7 major evil sins. And he said, Ashirk Billah, right? Polytheism, okay? And that is to associate partners with Allah, major sin. Was sihr, and that is magic. Going to the magicians, performing magic, putting spells on people. Number 3, Aklu Riba, and that is interest and usury. Very serious thing for us today in this world. Next, robbing orphans, taking the wealth of the yatim, the orphans, the weak young people in our community. Next is killing innocent people. قَتْلَ النَّفْسَ الَّتِي حَرَّمَ اللَّهُ إِلَّا بِالْحَقِّ. This is a very serious one, because look at the Muslim countries. How do they expect victory if innocent people are being killed? We cannot expect victory on the ground. It's a major sin to be taking the life of innocent people. Next of the mubiqat, and that is falsely accusing innocent Muslim women of doing wrong, and especially immorality. Cannot accuse Muslim sisters. This is a major sin, spreading scandal and lies about Muslim sisters and girls. And so, stay away from the major sins. Point number 4, Ijtinab al-Fawahish, and that is to avoid sexual immorality. Now look at this point today. This is a critical thing, because I can tell you, coming from the north, from Canada to Guyana, one of the biggest issues today facing Canada, America, the West, it's sexuality. Everybody's talking about gender. Everybody's in confusion about, are they male or are they female? This and that. There's so much adultery and fornication that is going on. Looseness is spread around in the society. Allah said, avoid sexual immorality. Be aware of it. Hold on to your deen. Don't be ashamed to wear loose clothes. Don't be ashamed to cover yourself when other people are taking it off. This will save us in this world. It'll help us to survive from the evil plan of the shaitan. Wal-iyadhu billah. Point number 5, and this is a very serious point, and that is, if they are angry, then they forgive. And this is a very important point, because in many cases when Muslims get angry, that is when they lose it. So when he gets angry, he starts cursing bad word. The husband gets angry with his wife, and suddenly talaq, talaq, talaq. Divorce comes out of his mouth like water. One imam and another imam or a masjid head community, they argue with each other. Suddenly, instead of one masjid or Islamic center, there's 2. And after 2, there's 4. Because we can't resolve our conflicts. You know what Allah said? When you're angry, when the emotion rises, forgive. Forgive your brother, forgive your sister, forgive your husband, forgive your wife, forgive your children. This is a crucial point of survival in this world, because if we go based on our rage, then we are in trouble, because there's a lot of things to get angry about in the life of this world. Point number 6, al-istijaba lillah, and that is to respond to Allah, like the baby responds to its mother. The baby doesn't ask about the milk. The baby doesn't ask, the baby responds to the mother. In the same way, we need to respond to the Quran when it is coming to us, to the Sunnah when it comes to us. If Allah said stay away from something, stay away naturally like the baby. If Allah said do something, try your best, strive your best like the baby. Al-istijaba lillah, naturally responding. This is a beautiful quality of a Muslim, and it will help us to survive in this world. Number 7, iqamat as-salat, and that is establishing prayers in our lives. This is not just making salat, but this is establishing salat. So we think about our day and we base it on our salat where we'll be, not our salat based on our day. So establishing prayers is very important, because what it does, it gives the believer a connection with Allah. And that will help us to survive, because we are finding ourselves in some strange situations, especially the younger generation. You find yourself with drugs. You find yourself people swearing, people committing adultery. You have to have that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When that connection is strong, when you have purified yourself with salat, purified your spirituality, you have a way out. Point number 8 is ashura, and that is mutual consultation. That means we need to consult each other. Talk more often. Husband, consult the wife. Wife, consult husband. Parents, consult the children. We need to have shura amongst ourselves. Masjids. We need a majlis shura where all the masjids come. All the imams. If we're Muslim, especially the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, all of us need to sit. Yes, there's some slight differences, but we need to sit together in shura, wa amruhum shura bainahum. That's critical. Even in the Muslim world, the Muslim countries themselves, they don't take shura. And that's the reason why you saw the Arab Spring, when the youth were marching in the streets, and they kept saying, Ashab yurid isqat al-nidam, that the people want the system to come down. Why did they want the system to come down? That is because they were not given counsel. Nobody cared about their opinion. The government just told them what to do. So now the youth rebelled and they said, come down, we're going to bring you down. Okay? So shura is critical for the survival of Muslims in this age. Number 9, وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ, that from what Allah has given to us, we spend. We give in the path of Allah. Allah gave some of us wealth. Allah gave some of us health. Allah gave some of us the ability to speak. Allah gave some of us the ability to influence others. Allah gave us, some of us, the ability to work. Whatever you have, give in the path of Allah. And especially the material wealth, give it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Give it to the community. That is so critical for us in these unique times that we are in, where we are like drowning people now in this hayat ad-dunya. And number 10, and this is so important, when evil is done to us, we stand and defend ourselves. There is a new generation coming up. You see it happening in West Africa, across the Sahel region of West Africa. Most of those people are Muslims who are making coups d'etats. They're overthrowing their governments. They can't take it anymore. Africa is the richest continent on earth in terms of mineral wealth, but the people are the poorest. Why is this contradiction? And so when Muslims find themselves evil done to us, we need to stand up, not to become oppressors, not to hurt anybody, not to blow things up, but we need to stand up against evil, call to the good and forbid evil. This is the new generation. That's where young people will respect the leaders. When you stand up and we don't turn your back and cow down to the material world, but stand up for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Stand up for righteousness in this world. May Allah Azza wa Jal give our leaders that ability to see. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala empower our young people. Give them the strength to practice balanced Islam. May Allah Azza wa Jal protect the children of this ummah. May Allah protect the women and the dignity of the women of the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And may Allah raise up leaders to take us from darkness into light. And may Allah make our last words our best word, to be kalima la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Aqulu qawli hadha wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum wa li sa'ili muslimina min kulli dhanb. Wassalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.